a vast majority of the last 20 years incarcerated, and you've been home less than 120 days.
Like if I don't tell somebody what I've done or where I've been,
But we also understand the minute you walk out that gate, you just been changed.
for sure. I leave my house every day at 6:15, 6:30. I'm grinding, I'm answering my phone. I'm doing the same stuff you guys do on a different level and a different scale. But I find my purpose.
Piloted what they call the second chance program that now finally truly puts you in an environment where you don't got to worry about anyone else. But what anyone else will progressive is recovery. It gets progressively better. The longer you do it, the more you do it, right? Just like working out. If I want to get ripped and shredded and be where I want to be physically, I got to go to the gym. I got to hit sets. I got to hit reps. I got to put more weight on. And then once I get to a point, I just got to maintain it, because once I stop going to the gym and just continue to start to do what Jason wants to do, I lose it. Same thing with recovery.
We don't take your insurance. We have great referral partners, people that we can get connected and help you find a great program that's going to help you change your life.
Just create an opportunity, a safe environment to help people to find recovery. And Josh, you're a beautiful example of that. Welcome to another episode of the Powerless to Powerful Recovery podcast. My name's Jason. I'm an alcoholic. As always, our mission is to share experience, strength, and hope across multiple media platforms. The story of addiction and the road to recovery. We're not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous or any other 12-step based organizations or groups in any way, but we are back. We're back with another episode. And as always, my co-host, Ronnie, no matter what, is here. What's up, Ron?
What's going on, Jay? Here we go.
I mean, new studio, new season, new content, new guests.
I'm going to cut you off for once. What do you think about these chairs?
I like these chairs.
Do you like these chairs? I'm supported.
You like them?
I feel supported. You know I feel supported.
It feels good. I like these chairs. I'm just a little worried they're weighing. But most importantly, what's important about these chairs is who's sitting in these chairs, because we have a special guest,
Very special.
At Desert Recovery Centers. Yes, we're mental health primary, focus on the highest level of mental health. But for the core heartbeat, the pure group of our company, most all of us are byproducts of being reentry miracles.
What?
And so today we have a reentry miracle, just like you and I, someone who at one point dedicated their life to the prison system, but now has dedicated their lives to recovery. Someone who has also dedicated their lives to helping others, getting back into the prison systems, being a member of drug court, being a community liaison, building community partnerships, having that safe landing pad for someone to touch down to when they arrive, a program that offers a full continuum of care. Today we have Joshua Johnson from our treatment centers on campus.
Dude, thank you guys for having me.
Yes,
You guys are amazing.
welcome to the show.
Here we go.
I mean, when I talk about ARC, I want to just start there for a quick second, because, here at Desert Recovery Centers, we have, 20 residential beds, one male, one female house. Then now we're approaching 30 PHP beds with a nice outpatient clinic, our new studio, right? And so we have 40, soon to be 50 bed problems, right? Now, when I say problems, I mean that in the best way, right?
Absolutely.
More, just like what Biggie said, more money, more problems, more client, more problems. Right? That's facts. Right? And so over there at ARC, you guys have about 300 beds in Tucson. Full continuum, residential, PHP, IFB, outpatient, the whole thing. 300. And then here now in Phoenix, you have, which is probably the most underpaid but most needed aspect of the recovery journey, which is ILP with housing.
Yeah.
Because it's that final phase that connects them with employment, but you still are keeping them as close as you can with recovery. But also, it's the bridge. Thank you, Ron. Exactly. It's that bridge. You guys have 20 beds here now. Soon to be more, I'm sure. But take a second first, welcome. But take a second to talk about what you guys do there, your specialty, the demographic you serve, how they could find you, and just give us a summary of what that's like, because we want to hear about that today as well.
Cool. So I want to thank you guys for having me. Honestly, you guys have done amazing things. Like, to be able to sit in this studio with you guys is a pretty cool thing. There's a lot of people that have gone before me into this space and like totally cleared a pathway, blazed the trail. And you guys are some that do it. I look up to both you guys. I admire both you guys, and it's very humbling to be here with you guys today. So,
Oh, dude, thank you.
thank you for having me on. And ARC, man, I love working at ARC. ARC is good. When you put it that way, the whole more clients, more problems scenario made me happy that I work in Phoenix, man. Like, I'm very proud my office is in Phoenix, but
20-bed problems.
20-bed problems
Yeah,
is a lot better than 300-bed problems, yes. But the full continuum, I believe, is where it's at. And I'm grateful to be a part of that process. We get to be able to take clients right from the very beginning, right? And get them through the detox process, step them down to res, being able to work with them through the residential process. And then what's beautiful about having beds in Phoenix and in Tucson both kind of just depends on what you're trying to do. Sometimes we're able to send guys down to Tucson to do their detox and their res. They want to come back to Phoenix, good. If they want to try something different, stay down in Tucson. That's a beautiful thing as well. But yeah, the culture.
And I will say the full continuum of care. People ask, what is a full continuum of care? Because some of our listeners might be, what is the full? So if there was a perfect way to get sober, the full continuum of care, if you had the ability to do it, would be the first stage if needed. If substance abuse is part of your recovery journey, then you would start in a detox, right? So you would start in a detox, or maybe it's a mental health detox hold where you start in a psych unit, right? And that's that beginning time period of becoming as stable as you can or relieving you from the physical dependence that you're suffering or whatever that might look like. 7 days. Then residential would be the next phase. Then from residential, typically you're lucky 30 days these days, right?
Yep.
And so typically you get 30 days in a residential setting, which is inpatient treatment, right? 24-hour around the clock care and treatment, right? Then from there you have PHP, which is that in-between time period between IOP, intensive outpatient programming, and that residential level, where now you're going to a clinic for 5 hours a day at minimum, Monday through Friday, where they still have eyes on you for that bulk majority of that week, right? And then you transfer into IOP, intensive outpatient, meaning the frequency, right? Which that's 5 days a week going for 3 hours a day. That's IOP, intensive outpatient would be the full max. But then you start to phase back into outpatient, which just means the frequency from 5 days a week down to 1 day a week, or staying connected to your weekly therapy meeting or whatever that might look like. Everybody's recovery journey looks different, but that's the full continuum of care, right? And so having that makes it spectacular. And that's what we finally are so grateful here with Desert, where we have that next ability outside of a detox to have that now full continuum. And most importantly, what you have is that housing aspect. And so when you talk about what you do specifically with them, what are you most excited about? Is it going into drug court? What's it like, right? Because first I want to say this, let me reframe that, right? You've been home now after doing a vast majority of the last 20 years incarcerated, and you've been home less than 120 days.
Yep.
You work at a treatment center. You are building relationships, going into prisons, right? The same experience that we were lucky enough to have and be connected to the prison system upon getting released to help people. I mean, what's that like being a part of drug court and working with the prisons from Orange to, I looked at Ron one time and we're sitting in a meeting and there had been 2 cops that worked at a prison I was at that literally stripped me out after a visitation before, right? So what's it like going back and working for the prisons, being home in such a short period of time and already working with DOC?
It's amazing. It's very humbling. This is as well, one of the things that I like the most about it is the bad choices that I made throughout most of my life. I realize now I'm finding a purpose in it, and I'm realizing that it didn't have to be for nothing. But it's also, it's interesting. I didn't choose to get tatted down, blasted. So I walk into court, I look pretty squared away. Like if I don't tell somebody what I've done or where I've been, and they don't recognize me right away, a lot of times they don't even know, which is kind of cool. But I like to be able to share my story as well. And just to be able to, I was a part of the problem for so long. I was the PO's problem for so long. I was institutional staff's problem for so long. Now to be a part of the solution is a cool thing, and just to be able to be a conduit. A lot of times, I've been on parole before. I've been in court before. A lot of times I didn't feel trust towards court personnel for no good reason. I shouldn't have felt that way, but that's how I felt. And a lot of times just being able to be that go-between between court personnel, between lawyers, between judges, between probation officers, between parole officers, between, administrative staff on prisons, to be able to help reach the population that we get to serve every day. Because that's the gift of it, right? We get to serve this population group every day. it's really cool. And
Because you're a justice liaison is basically what you do for at the highest level. You're the main population that art serves is the reentry demographic for the most part, and so having that ability to bridge that gap to help someone who doesn't have support for someone like we were fortunate to have, right? Where they have that next landing place and that launching place, I should say, and so that's what's special about art because they have that full continuum and have the ability to do it. But I always like to talk about how we met, how we got to this show. We get people ask to be on the show all the time, and sometimes that's the way. But typically, we know you from some capacity, or we love what you do. We're at the facility or the company you work for, and we want to create awareness to the company so people can get the help they need. But Ron, why don't you take an opportunity to share how we know Josh, how we met, because that's the juice of recovery. So it's a real cool experience to have you here today.
Yeah, we have a friend Stephanie that reached out.
Shout out to Stephanie.
Stephanie, we worked with Stephanie in the past, and she's great. And she went over and she's working for the state, right? She
DS
for DES, and she had reached out to myself and Jason and asked if we would get on a Zoom and do an interview with a guy. And she knows we're really busy, and she emphasized the fact that, and you need to know that she emphasized the fact that she 100% believes that this is going to be important for everybody involved if we could get on with it.
Wow.
So at that minute when that was happening, we were extremely busy. We had several projects going on at once, hair on fire, and we got corralled, and we were in a conference room, and we got you up on the screen. And as soon as you started talking and introduced yourself, I said, this dude's got it. Me and Jason looked at each other. He was at the end of the table. I kept looking at Jason. You were talking, and the way you were so controlled and humble and a matter of fact about what you've done and where you've been, how you got there, and what you wanted to do. And I seen it in your eyes. You were getting ready to get on. You had all these plans. You had all these things. It was all laid out. You had it systematic how this was going to go down. And one of the things that Jason and I had said to you, number one, we want to support you. We want to be part of your journey. But we also understand the minute you walk out that gate, everything's going to change.
For sure.
The plan isn't going to be the plan anymore. And we're going to try to hold on to that plan. And the best thing we can do is pivot and go with it and make good decisions. But ultimately, Jason really emphasized this, is surround yourself with people that are going to support you.
Yeah.
And I know the people that support you, you couldn't have a stronger support system. George Nolan.
Shout out to George. Yeah.
Foot on the gas.
Yeah.
Foot on the gas. People will say, hey, slow down. You're doing too much. We don't believe in that. Being controlled about it and being strategic about it. But we're all playing catch up.
For
Right?
sure.
We're all playing catch up. We already have stigmas against us for being incarcerated and the things we've done from the past. So we don't have any choice. We have to work harder than everybody else.
Facts.
Not that we're trying to show out or be better than anybody, but we have to. We have to show and prove our worth. And you've done that in the 100-some days you're out, and you're continuing to grind and just keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep going. There's some things waiting for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that
A lot of things, bro.
And I remember that, as we know, Stephanie, we worked on another reentry project, and we were in the midst of launching this program. And when we came over, we launched it, so we knew what we had before we staffed it, so we knew who to put where, and when we got on with you immediately, dude, we heard, the core principles of what made us successful were the things that you were doing, and we could hear that within a few minutes of you speaking. And that's what it takes to be successful, right? And so immediately we wanted to help you, and whatever that could be, anything from all the way to employment, whatever that looked like, and just wanted to call when you got out. And you called me. I remember talking to you, and you told me about the first place that you started working at, Hope Lives, and you talked about more of your passions and wanting to try other things as well, and wanting more of a role. And so then here we are now at ARC. But I just remember, I can't wait to watch your journey, because we had that same experience where we had someone else from DOC. I don't think it wasn't Stephanie, but reached out to us, and we met George Nolan, and so it's not a lot of people, because not a lot of people do the things that you've done and took the time that you had to make a valuable time and not wasted time to really have a plan, action steps, and then actually be willing to try and do it when you come home. call and reach out to your support system, immediately go to a meeting, seek employment, immediately reconnect with a relationship in your life. You got married, you got a better job immediately that you wanted. Like you did all the things that you could control. You controlled your controllables, dude, and you tried hard every single day. And that's what we believe in.
Yeah.
I just want to say this. I heard this. Jeff Bezos said this. Yeah. He believes stress comes from the things that you do have control over that you haven't taken action.
Woo.
When he said that,
That's a bar right there. Say that again.
stress comes from the things you have control over that you haven't done anything about.
I like it.
That's the stress.
Yeah.
The bad relationship that I haven't walked away from.
Yeah.
The company that doesn't align with my values.
Yeah.
Where I live. If it's stressful in my life, it's because I haven't done something about it.
Yeah.
Because I can't control any of this outside stuff. Everything's exactly the way it's supposed to be. I can only control me. And I do want to say this before it gets lost, and it's on my heart. It's very when you talk about me and Jason, it really makes my heart happy when you say that. But I need you to know something.
Mm-hmm.
You are a rock star. I look up to you. You are valuable. You matter. You're helping change lives. You have the platform and the ability to do it, and you are doing it. And I look up to that because you could do a lot of other things. You know what I mean? So Josh, you need your flowers, bro, and just keep doing what you're doing. And again, I'm so excited because there's some things waiting for you. And you don't even know. I don't even know. We don't even know.
Like you just got out, 100 and some plus days, 120 days. It's the first time you're helping people. We're going to talk about it. I get to your story. You spent the last decade dedicating your lives to other men and helping them, dude. So now you're just doing it in a different environment. So when he says you got other things waiting for you, it's because that level of commitment, effort, dedication that you've shown that you can do in one of the most hostile environments where it could be very frowned upon, depending on where you're at, dude. Like, to now do it out here, right?
For sure.
To now do it out here,
Yeah.
where there's the platform, bro.
Yeah.
Just like George, just like Ron, just like myself, for show up and try, and our heart's in the right place. There's a lot of others that do it well in this space too. And so. Just getting to watch you do, we're excited to see that,
It's cool. And I want to share something with you guys. Like this is really a full circle moment for me, right? Because we met over a camera. And even to be where I was at, and we'll get there too, right? To be able to have access to a computer lab where we were able to get on a call is huge, right? Like to be able to do those things from inside DOC is huge, right? To be able to have access to those things because of the program I was at, which is Second Chance. But you think about how full circle this is, right? We met on a camera. It was a computer camera. I was wearing orange still. I was finishing up a 10-year sentence. And to be out here with you guys today is huge. But on that call with you guys, I want to tell you guys what it did for me. It was very validating, right? Because I was trying to do the next right thing every single day. And I was committed to doing that. And I still am. And I want to help people. I found my purpose in that, right? I found my purpose in that. Like you spoke to something earlier about why I tried to get out and square up before, right? And when I say that, settle for the status quo, check the box of maybe hitting a Bible study here and doing this and chilling out. I'm not built like that. You're not built like that. You're not built like that. We're built to go hard in the paint. We just did it for the wrong reasons before, and we have to find our purpose in being able to figure out how to go hard. So I'm like that, man. I leave my house every day at 6:15, 6:30. I'm grinding. I'm answering my phone. I'm doing the same stuff you guys do on a different level and a different scale. But I find my purpose in that. But to have you guys share what you shared with me that day, because you were very vocal. Your support for me was very vocal. You sharing what you shared with me about what you believed you saw in me was very important to me, because you do these things, but you're incarcerated still. Yeah. And you're wondering, okay, I don't know, is this really going to work out when I get out? I have seen 100 guys that have gotten out, or 15 guys that have gotten out that have done things the right way that are excelling. And they say they were doing the things that I was doing, but to have that validated helped me step out more confidently. Our conversation, that's why I wanted to reach out to you guys right away when I got out, because our conversation, it helped me to believe in myself. And that's the honor and privilege that we get. I get to pay that forward, whether I'm talking to somebody in a group room, I'm talking to somebody that wants care, and I'm figuring out if we can help them or if we have to help them find it somewhere else, or if I'm getting the opportunity to go back into a prison and share a class. That is the honor and privilege that we have working in this space, to help people see what in themselves, maybe what they can't see.
They can't see it themselves.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what we
Yeah.
do,
Yeah, it's amazing.
and so we're going to get into your story because every journey starts somewhere, and so you were born in Minnesota, but you came out here when you were young, but we're still shouting out the Vikings.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yep. Sam Darnold.
Go. No, I'm sad about that move.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Stud. Okay. All right.
Best receiver in the NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah, for sure. He's at the table.
Yeah, oh yeah,
For sure.
Yeah. Fantasy football.
Yeah. I'm not a fantasy guy, man. I found that to be a conflict, right?
Like reality.
Is then you got to root against your
Right,
Vikings.
100%. I don't like it. I tried it one year. I'm like, I'm good, man. I got to root for him to not get his catches today. Not doing it.
Yeah. That could be difficult when it's your team,
Yeah.
Then you pick all the fantasy players from your team, and that's never a good
No, absolutely not.
You go with your heart. You got to go. Yeah, you got to
Did it every year. I picked all the Steelers because nobody wanted them.
Didn't work. But you basically grew up out here in Chandler, right? So that's where you're basically from, is Chandler. And when we talk a little bit before the show, we always like to talk about family dynamic. And, you come from a good childhood. You had every opportunity to be successful.
Are you allowed to Chandler?
I mean, C-Town, baby.
Hey, shout out Detective Mejia. Real talk, Detective Mejia and the repeat offender program, because, we're members of the repeat offender program. And because of that, Chandler Police Department, Ron and I were made known. You know our story. We've known each other for a very long time. We had a fall room in Chandler. My wife's from Chandler.
I just know you know where I am now.
Yeah. I found Ron. Yeah,
There's all the tire companies at the studio.
we do different things today.
They come past you, Jason, showing a picture. Where's this guy?
Yeah, so we're familiar. And we had a phone room,
So,
all the things. So we're familiar with Chandler, and Chandler really saved my life, because that time period, even though I didn't see it, I didn't believe it, but the things that we were doing, and without creating change, nothing would ever change. And if it wasn't the 3.5 to get my attention, these small senses don't get our attention out. We're going to talk about in your story, these bigger ones tend to, but we still have that opportunity of the choices that, we're actually going to make, and so when we look at that, those choices have heavy, serious consequences, and those consequences have long sentences.
yeah.
But you started drinking at a young age. So let's talk about the progression, what that was like, because it started at a young age. So what was that? We're 4 years old. I mean, can you share just the progression of how it started, the drinking, being around it, and just that early progression?
For sure. It's crazy. Like, one of my earliest memories is being at my cousin Dean's graduation, and hiding up under the table where the keg was sitting at. And I dumped out my Mountain Dew can and I filled it with beer. And I remember drinking, because at that age, with one of my cousins who was slightly older than me at the time, from being like 6 or 7 years old, stealing beer out of my dad's fridge. It's crazy how this disease of addiction works, and how you don't realize how those things are happening, but they do. Like, and just having that taste of alcohol. I remember getting buzzed when I was 6 or 7, stealing beers, and it made me want more.
You remember what that first beer was like at such a young age? Or when was the first time you could remember? If I was to ask you the question of the effect that alcohol has on you, right? Or that first effect, how would you describe it?
So I got a great story for that, as a matter of fact. So the first time I remember feeling the effects of a good buzz, we had a diving board at our house, and on the pool at our house, right? Middle class, you brought that up, right? The very first time I ever had the courage to try a front flip was after I consumed a beer and a half, and I was able to do it. So that tells you, like, what drugs makes us feel like as addicts, and alcoholics. It makes us think that we're Superman,
Oh yeah.
I know you guys don't know what I'm talking about.
Next thing, I wasn't doing front flips off the diving board. We were doing them off the rough.
There it is.
Gainers. I mean, you name it. I mean, and that's the thing, right? And so we talk about the way alcohol affects us. We attach it to our emotions, right? And because of that, it attacks the brain,
Nice.
But what also happens for you is the progression and the consequences and the harder drugs. And because you have a basic high school experience, you just added an extra year into your high school experience.
The party, I wanted the party to keep going.
You just added an extra year, right? But you had that experience where it's alcohol, it's weed, it's the weekends, it's coke more nights a week, it's acid, it's mushrooms, it's all those things you can pack into high school, right? And so after high school, when you graduate, the consequences come quick. So what happens after high school?
And I worked at Trails. If that tells you guys, then we're at
a
sharing that store. Actually, the one on
Thomas?
Country, it was on Country Club and the 16th,
Oh, yeah.
right by Sunsplash.
Yeah, that's where the bus dropped me off when I got here.
Yeah, I worked at Trails, and
Yeah.
enough said. Like, I was right into the drug culture. I remember smoking crack. I know you like crack cocaine. I smoked crack one time too, from like the end of '96 till the middle of '97. Yeah. So I jumped right into it, working at Trails department store, all this stuff, man. Started getting more heavily involved with selling and transporting drugs, and pretty soon, before you realize it, my job started getting in the way of the lifestyle I was trying to live. Ended up catching my first case. It was a gun charge. Somebody cut me off in traffic. I showed him I had a gun. I didn't point it at him or nothing like that, but they charged me for
So Arizona Ave, you're in front of Chandler Liquor.
I actually was on Arizona Avenue, but I wasn't that far south now.
Did you have a taster?
Baton? Yeah, I did not see.
It wasn't wrong. Okay.
No, Ronnie wasn't wrong.
Ronnie's got fryers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, we know Chandler. That's all we'll say.
Yeah. So caught that first charge. Ended up getting put on probation. Didn't really like the restrictions of probation, so I did.
I think I
Moved to Tempe. Started selling a lot of drugs, man, and ended up having sold to an undercover cop. The door got kicked in my house in Tempe by Mesa Scat at the time, and that was my first prison sentence. They gave me 3.5 years. I got busted with a 1/2 pound of meth.
Oh, he's talking your language, Ron. Getting bigger numbers there. Pounds? Half pound? I mean, and that's the thing, right? So now here we are where you're, what are you, 19, 20 years old?
Yep, right there.
Yeah, you're young, So now here we are, we're in the prison system. And when we're young, I mean, we've all done time sitting here when we were younger. I mean, when I first 23 to 26, so I mean, I was young too. And what happens is we think all that prison shit's kind of cool at that time, and those little, like I said earlier, those little sentences don't really get your attention because a couple push-ups, a couple meals, a couple, laughs, if you put a couple pounds back on, get some good night's sleep and all these things, a tan if you're lucky,
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're back out. What we have is part of this disease is a built-in forgetter.
Yeah.
We forget it so quick, dude.
Absolutely.
Because what the next decade plus 2 decades really look like for you, but at least the next decade looked like a 2.5 year prison sentence.
Yeah.
Got out, picked up another year. Okay. Then after that, you picked up a 9.5 year prison sentence.
Yeah.
So in a span of a decade, you're in a decade. And that's 3 different trips through Alhambra.
Yeah.
How many times have you taken a UA and a shower at Alhambra at the same damn time?
A lot. I've been through Alhambra, I think 7 times if you count my violations.
I just want to say, you're cool, but I had resentments against the cats that would come back with a year. How a year? I don't understand it.
That's actually a funny story. There used to be a thing called Prop 200.
Oh yeah.
And I was on the rope actually at the time, Prop 200 probation, and I got caught for possession. It was only my second drug charge, so I was still eligible for Prop 200. And I remember when the rope detective came and seen me, and he thought he had me. And he was talking big trap to me, man. I'm gonna make sure you get at least 4.5 for this. And I was not near as humble as I am these days. I popped off at the mouth back at him, and I'm like, you might want to check your facts, man. I'm eligible for Prop 200. They're gonna let me back out on this. And I remember the look on his face. He was upset.
Yeah.
And I like to run my mouth when I was a youngster, man. Used to get me in trouble. Got me shot at more than one jumped more than one time, and it also made the police take me sometimes, man. But that was how I ended up getting a year. They ended up giving me it was a paraphernalia. and how Prop 200 used to work is you can get out and they keep letting you get out and get out and get out. But I didn't realize they had changed it where they could modify your sentence to a Prop 302 and they could send you back to county jail. And they tried to give me a violation. I said, I'm not going to county. Let's just do the year and let's go to prison. And that's what ended up happening. So
we caught the year, right?
Year.
Then he gets the 9.5.
Yeah.
Right.
I was on 43 days.
43 days.
I was still on parole on a 1-year sentence. No, I caught 9.5. No, it wasn't even this.
No, so he catches 9.5. 43 days he's out. He catches a 9.5. But something changes during this time. Is when you really find God for the first time and that relationship and what it takes now. You understand the action that it takes with that relationship with God. But you found it during that prison sentence, right? And that change started. And you got out and you had all the dreams and plans of doing things different and swore you would never relapse and would never do any of those things. In 3 weeks, you lasted 9 months.
Yep.
But when you relapsed, that run lasted 3 weeks.
Yep.
And that run ended with an 11.5. What was that day like when you got that, when you got arrested that led to that 11.25 that you got sentenced to?
It was very, very heavy. And I really had a choice, right? In that moment, when I got arrested, it was a parole violation because I did run a red light. I did hit somebody. They took blood at the scene, but they couldn't charge me right away because they didn't have the evidence. But I was on parole, so they sent me back to prison. So I went back to Steiner in 2016, and that was very, very heavy time. I had a choice. And Steiner, anybody that was there during that time, Steiner, the yard was flooded. It was easier to get a paper of dope there than it was to get a cigarette, if that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
And I remember I really had that choice when I touched down on that yard in that moment. Had a bunch of friends there, people trying to put work in my hands as soon as I got there, knew a bunch of people. But I had a choice in that moment when I touched down at Steiner. And I was still hoping against hope, right? That, the blood would come back good or
lose the
they'd screw some up, change the evidence. Yeah, so you're just begging and hoping for all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, none of that happened for me, but so I made a choice right in that moment that, what I was going to do with that time. And I knew 10 years was a very, very reasonable thought. That was what I thought in the back of my mind from the very beginning when I got arrested. I wouldn't see the streets in 10 years. And I made a choice at Steiner. And I was around a great group of guys. That being said, man, there was a lot of nonsense going on, but there was also a core of guys that were trying to do something different. Some of them were lifers that were never going to get out. And all they wanted to do was pour into other people, the hope that they would get to live the life, right? That they would never get to live because they're doing forever. And man, I got there and I made a choice in that moment that no matter what it was, if it was a church service, if it was a program, if it was a conversation, if it was walking away from a conversation, if it was, whatever that looked like, it was meeting the right people. If I was going to do it and it would improve my chances by 1% of not only never coming back to prison again, but just being a better human, I was going to do it. And I would love to tell you guys I did it perfectly well, and I didn't. But that was my philosophy for my last 10 years in DOC. And I did pretty much with the best of my ability to live that out. And I tried to take advantage of everything. Like if you look up my ADCRR screen, my program screen, it's popping. I got disciplinary stuff too, but it's old.
Yeah.
But my program screen is popping. It's populated. I did as much stuff as I could. And even the stuff I got to facilitate and build and grow, that stuff's really not on there because those are just the programs I signed up for.
Sure.
The ones that I got to facilitate and teach are not on there. So that was my philosophy for my last 10 years.
Yeah, because and that philosophy started, and just to shed a little bit of light on that, because when that accident happened, they took your blood and they, like you said, you went back on a parole violation, which only would have been 7 months. So let's say they lose that blood. Yep. You might only be doing 7 months. Yep. In our mind, in order for us, to get through the time, we attach to best possible scenario.
Yep.
It helps us to get through every day.
Yep.
So you're hoping, right? You make this commitment that you're going to do all the next right things. You're going to do everything. You're going to do everything that you're supposed to do, right? Then all of a sudden now you're right at the gate, a couple months from getting out, and all of a sudden they tell you roll up, you're going back to county jail. And I've been page 2, Ron's been page 2, I've been page 2 a lot. And that feeling, man, sick, want to cry. Last time I got page 2, my my cellie gave me a hug because I started crying. I was just like, couldn't believe it. I just got my TV, just got my first visit, and I remember calling Ash from the county line, and she knows the reportings
For sure.
and couldn't believe what was even happening. And and so then you get 11 in the course, you get 10 years dropped on you.
Yep.
So now you still stay with that commitment to now, even though take this next decade to make the most of it, dude. And so that's what you did. And so you went from Red Rock for 4 years to Glow to Phoenix West and basically piloted what they call the Second Chance program that now finally truly puts you in an environment where you don't got to worry about anyone else, what anyone else thinks, right? And you could just focus on being prepared to get released. That's so awesome, so amazing to take that time, make it valuable time.
Can we shout out the Second Chance Center?
Of course.
I definitely want to shout out the Second Chance Center. If you're watching at home, you have family members that are incarcerated, they have the opportunity to sign up for Second Chance. I just want to tell you, it is the opportunity to change your life. I was able to have that conversation with you guys over a Zoom call because I was at Second Chance.
For sure.
There's job opportunities. They let you actively job search while you're there. If you have a family member and you can encourage them to take part of that program, I literally had 7 job interviews before I got out of prison. Well, I mean, Second Chance.
If you haven't been incarcerated, you don't understand. For the family members who've never been locked up, what a big what a big opportunity it is to have 7 interviews before you get out and be able to network and just be able to communicate with somebody not in orange, like another human being, because there's a learning curve when we get out.
Absolutely.
All 3 of us had our stuff together when we were in prison. It was together.
Yeah.
When we walked out that gate, we were model inmates. We did everything the way we're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
People respected us, our peers. The cops looked at us. Hey, man, these guys got their stuff together. But then when we get out, there's that transition period where you got to learn how to adapt back to society.
Absolutely.
Some is quicker than others.
Yeah.
But like he had his meltdown. I had my, where was yours at? Yours was at Factory.
Yeah.
Mine was at Walmart. Real quick, I got out. It was COVID.
Yeah.
They were only letting so many people at a time into Walmart. They let me in. I went to get a pair of jeans. I got a mask on. I'm sweating. I don't know what to do. Dean was with me. I have 2 pairs of pants. No, 3 pairs of pants. 2, all different sizes. I didn't know what size pants I was.
Yeah.
I didn't know I know what size I was in oranges.
Yeah, it's different.
And I don't know. And I'm standing there in front of the jeans. And all of a sudden, I break into tears and I'm crying and it's running in my mask. And I can't breathe around my. And this old lady's there. She goes, "Sweetheart, what's the matter?" I didn't feel a breath. And I'm subbing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what size pants to get. She goes, "Sweetheart, just get all 3. And the ones that don't fit, keep your receipt and bring them back."
It's great.
To this day,
He still got him.
those 2 pair of pants that only 1 fit me. The 2 didn't fit me are in my bottom drawer of my dresser. They're still there.
Good for
We got a
you.
seat in the pocket.
Good for you.
I just don't touch them. It's the sound.
I could usually go, I'm not credit. Can I get those, please?
I think the statute of limitation, I'll never see it anymore now.
Depends on your street.
Oh,
I know.
quick. The other day I was at Walmart. I was in the parking lot. I come out. I got my little things. I put them in. I get in my car. I got my routine. I'm a smoker. I let my cigarette. I got my door open, and I hear this ruckus. And I see lost prevention over there on Thomas. I see lost prevention chasing this dude. I just tackle this dude. Got him smeared down on the ground. I just.
We're gonna have to live that way anymore.
Thank God. Thank God.
Gratitude.
Hey, I hear, hey, sir.
I mean, man, I can't even believe those things, and so when we look at this time period of, some major time periods stick out to you, and just like for all of us, the 12 steps, and for you, with Celebrate Recovery was the linchpin to connecting, God to the action steps of the program, a love program, which is all different. Everybody's recovery looks different.
Yeah.
And so through that process, shout out to Megan, your wife.
Wow. Come on.
Shout out to your wife. You got a chance to get married.
It only took me till I was 49 to trick a woman into marrying me, but I did did it.
But recovery is about recovery. First, you recover yourself internally, and then and on God's time, the outcomes in your life externally, you recover those things too. So why don't you share that journey of working the steps? You were at Phoenix West, is on the end time period of Globe, and you start to connect with Phoenix West and get moved. So why don't you just share that time period of really connecting the dots?
It's cool. It's a great story, and I'm grateful that you brought it up. We had a volunteer that would bring in Celebrate recovery material, and they would actually let us run the meetings, just like we all probably ran meetings inside, right? I know you did. And so I was working the steps. This is the first time I'd ever worked the steps. I got to step 4 many years before and tapped out. I was one of those guys. Yeah, I'm not writing all that down, right?
I do that.
I was working the steps. It was the first time, and I got to my 9th step, and it was time to make amends. And I began to reach out and write letters. And I had an ex-girlfriend that I did a lot of harm to, and just wanted to make that right any way I could. And so I sent an amends letter to my ex-girlfriend, and we started talking because of it. And eventually it ended up, we were with other people at the time. It was nothing. There was no agenda there other than me just trying to clean up the wreckage of my past.
Yeah, it was on the list. You
Yeah.
had to do it.
Yeah.
Felt like you had to do it.
Trying to pull up the roots.
To do it. Yeah.
Trying to pull up the roots of the things that caused me to relapse or caused me to use. And in the process of that, my wife now, Megan Johnson, my wife, and we began to talk again. And over the last couple of years, we built a relationship, and we did it right while we were inside. We counseled with a pastor over Zoom with the chaplain. We had an amazing chaplain that facilitated that. We got to counsel with a pastor every week for about 8 months. Yeah, it was amazing.
Shoutout Second Chance.
Cool, amazing stuff going on out there. Yeah, and that pastor actually ended up moving to Ohio. He flew back. He was the one that married us. We got married on June 20th.
Yes.
So she's an amazing woman, man. Like I said, she's amazing. I'm grateful.
Wow, dude. And so you have this, not only are, just like the big book talks about, 9 times out of 10, the unexpected happens. And that was all of our experiences, because we were all in, and we had this conception of a power. We knew what it took to couple our action steps with it. And we started to get results.
Yep.
And when you see that, right, you see not, because she's not like she responded and said, "Oh, I'm madly in love with you. I want to be with you." Oh, dude, that's not what you did is you just showed her your art again, dude, and reminded her of that, dude. And then
Beautiful.
That's exactly what it is, dude. And then from there, God took care of the outcome, right, and brought you guys together.
Very well said.
And that's the beautiful thing about recovery. And we get to see it with our clients, it was in our own lives, and it's a constant thing of growth, dude. And it's the hardest to work the principles of any program closest to home because of ego, but each day we keep suiting up and showing up, dude. And that's what's the most important part about the whole thing. And so what I'm curious about is that moment, because you get released, after, doing time with her, because she's doing time just with you. You have all these plans, dreams, goals, connections, jobs lined up, all these things. But what was it like on that car ride home after being picked up from her, 10 years in prison, giving the last basically 20 years to DOC? This time, was it different? What was it like? What was that feeling?
It was like, I can't explain it. Like, I've gotten out and freaked out in public and all that kind of stuff. And I did have a freak out moment. I had one this time, but I felt that peace, like from the beginning. I was excited. I was pumped up. But I went to a couple guys that I was in Second Chance with, actually came and met me for breakfast right down the street from Second Chance. And we all sat down and ate breakfast. And I had so much support getting out, like so many people that I had gotten to know through Second Chance, volunteers that came in, and a whole bunch of people that I was blessed to help while they were incarcerated, that were sober, that had amazing lives, and they wanted to get back to me, man. And so that was amazing. My freak out moment though was when I'm probably the only person that's ever happened to, but when the Google Maps doesn't work out right, and it was sending me somewhere, and I was in the wrong spot, and I freaked out, man, a little bit. But what was cool was the very things that I worked on and I programmed for 8 years, the coping skills, the things that I was going to need. I had those in my bag to lean on. I was able to pull over to the side of the road. I was able to take a couple deep breaths. I was able to pray a little bit. I had somebody I could reach out to on the phone to help me get, hey, this is where I'm at. Can you help me? one phone call away. All the things that I was able to build while I was in there, like the things that we do inside mattered. And I was able to lean on that. So I was excited, all the things, right? But I had the like peace. And I have felt overwhelmed at times since I've gotten out. But I also have worked through enough things now to trust that I'm gonna figure it out now. And if I can't figure it out, I have people I can call. They're gonna help me figure it out.
So your brother, I've been out 5.5 years and I feel overwhelmed right now.
Absolutely. It's sitting drowning trying to get your emails done before
Bro, like, yeah,
yeah,
it's
real.
get it done. Because
Yeah.
guess what? We are the backup.
Yeah.
We are the backup.
Yeah.
No one's coming to save us.
That's it.
No one's going to save us, that's for sure.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the truth.
He hasn't even looked at his phone yet.
Yeah.
Once he does that, he's gonna be stuck for a while.
But either way, you know, the most important part though, dude, is you have tools and you know how to apply them. Because the power from the knowledge comes from the application of it.
Man, I like it.
And I have to be reminded, Ron has to be reminded, that's why we need each other, because we need to remind each other that when we look over our history, because all this disease wants me to remember is 1997 sophomore year in high school when it was fun and forget the consequences, right? Absolutely. But I have to remember those consequences. But most importantly, what I have to remember is since I decided to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to God, and what I mean by that is understand how to use this power to really make change, meaning align my actions with a higher power. And so what I mean with that is the 50-50 relationship I talk about all the time. My 50% is the action steps each day.
Yep.
My higher powers 50% is the outcomes in my life. And so since I have done my part every single day to the best of my abilities, and when I don't, I own it. I try to clean it up as quick as I possibly can. Since I've done that, every outcome has worked out in my life. Every single outcome has worked out.
That's cool.
Why would whatever I'm going through right now at this moment be anything different?
Great.
And that's what you shared about, right? It's like saying, well, I know I can get through it because I've been able to get through all those different things. I've been able to get through the time period of, no matter what it might look like, I have that ability to get through it because I have this power. And I know that I'm doing my part every day. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep doing my part every day. And what we don't talk about enough is how progressive recovery is. Because recovery is also progressive, like illnesses. If we talk about the disease, it's progressive, it's deadly, it'll kill you. Fact. But what's also progressive is recovery. It gets progressively better. The longer you do it, the more you do it, right? Just like working out. If I want to get ripped and shredded and to be where I want to be physically, I got to go to the gym. I got to hit sets. I got to hit reps. I got to put more weight on. And then once I get to a point, I just got to maintain it, because once I stop going to the gym and just continue to start to do what Jason wants to do, I lose it. Same thing with recovery. You hit sets and reps for a decade straight, helping other men to teach something as to master it. And so now here we are, where it's just different environment, same discipline, different environment, and relying on the evidence that we've collected that when we do our part, God does his part. So his part's the outcomes.
Yeah.
And this is just another moment we get to share, which is a series of experience, which is recovery.
It's cool.
You know, and so now it's just going to, but that's what we don't talk about enough. Recovery is also progressive. It gets progressive better.
I'm stealing them, bro.
Please.
No, that's great.
do.
It's such a beautiful way to say it.
Keep doing it. Your life will get much better and continue to get
100%.
Keep doing it. You know, people talk about coming off of pink cloud. It's one of the things I hate.
I hate it.
You came off of pink cloud. Why'd you? Well, I stopped going to meetings. I got in a shitty relationship. Well, that's why. It wasn't that you just came off this pink cloud because recovery just came off. It just goes away. No, we've been on one since we found recovery.
Yeah, that's
For 8+ years, for a decade plus, you've been on one. That's why you're saying it was valuable time. And now it's just a different type of cloud that you're on, dude. And it only gets better, dude. You know, and so now you get to show other men that. You get to be visual proof, dude. The power that comes from your past when you use it for the right reasons, dude, in the right ways. You know, so when we talk about ARC, you know, is it primarily the reentry demographic, or can someone come right off right from anywhere to find you guys? So talk a little bit about what admissions looks like. How do they find you? What insurance do you take? And how does that piece kind of work?
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's 80% of our milieu has been justice involved, but we're not limited to that. Like, we want to be willing to help anybody that wants help. So, and I want to put this out there. I'm going to share our admissions line, and I'm going to share my own personal phone number too, because I want to be available. Like, helping the next person, man, is the thing that's put me in the right position to get to do the things that I love to do. So, we're willing to help anybody. If you call it, we don't take your insurance. We have great referral partners, people that we can get connected and help you find a great program that's going to help you change your life. Like, I love Frank Eisenhower, and he's my boss.
Shout out to Frank.
Yeah,
I love
yeah. Frank's amazing, man. And like he and his wife are driving the organization, and that's their heart. No, they're not. Their heart is to help the next person to do the next right thing. Frank, from a leadership standpoint, he's right now, he's working the steps, going to meetings. He's 11 years in recovery, right? He's been sober 11 years. He's leading by example. And, that's the group of men that I work with where I'm at. It's mostly men. I mean, we have a bunch of women that works down in Tucson, but we're only helping men right now in Phoenix. We only have male facility right now. So we have mostly males in where we work. And everybody's committed to recovery. Everybody's committed to accountability. We're holding each other accountable. And what's beautiful is the clients get to see that. They see us holding each other up. And so we're able to do that with them too. And we're humble enough, man. I'll take instruction from anybody. If I miss it with anybody, I want them to let me know. Yeah, because I want to fix it. Like you said, I want that. And that's what I love about, ARC. So I do have an admissions line. I'm gonna have to pull my phone out. What kind of an outreach guy am I if I don't have the admissions line memorized? But our admission line, it's 520-636-8211. We have some amazing TAs that'll get on the phone with you. They'll walk you through the process. If you need transportation, we'll come pick you up. We'll get you into the facility. I want to give my phone number out as well, because even if it's not substance use stuff that you're struggling with or mental health, because we are a co-occurring disorder facility. If it's just something something you need to work on, if you're in the reentry space and you need help getting connected to resources, I get to go do the parole orientation. I got to go do that today. I got to go pick somebody up from prison yesterday in Kingman. And I want to share this story. It's just a microcosm of what recovery is like. So I get up 4:45. I'm out the door to go to Kingman to pick this guy up. I want to make sure I'm there by 8:00 to get him. Get stopped. There's some construction going on. Get stopped. I'm hung up for over 20 minutes. So now I'm thinking about this guy, right? I'm thinking, man, this guy's depending on me to get there so he can get out of prison. So I start speeding, and I passed in a no passing zone, man, and I got pulled over, and I got a ticket out of it. And I had a choice right there in that moment, right, to try to justify it, excuse it. Instead, I'm listening. I'm like, okay, God, I'm probably going a little bit too fast. And I owned it with the trooper that pulled me over. I said, hey, look, I got no excuse. I'm in a hurry. I shouldn't have been. This is on me. And, that's recovery, right? It's doing what we got to do, the next right thing, trying to help people recover. But we're going to miss it sometimes. What do we do when we miss it? We humble ourselves. We straighten it back out. I got back on the road. I drove the speed limit. I went and picked him up. I got to bring him home. I got to take him out to eat at In-N-Out. I got to go to Walmart with him. I got to be that guy in there with him to help work on his sizes, man.
Yeah,
If I
grab the
I got to go to Marshall's with him and get him a couple of outfits, and I'm getting to walk him through that process. That's what we get to do every day at ARC. That's what I get to do every day. I'm helping build the reentry program that's there. And so my phone number is 480-878-8788. Please feel free to reach out to me as well. Or something that I can help with. Watching the example of guys that have gone before me, that's what's making them successful. They answer their phone, they follow through on their commitments, and they do the next right thing. And that's what I love about ARC. That's what we're doing today. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I mean, and again, don't worry about it, the insurance, don't worry about those things. If you're struggling, substance abuse, mental health, you have a loved one, or it's for you, reach out to Josh, reach out to ARC. Or if you're struggling around, where can they find us at?
They can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, but more importantly, you can go to our website, desertrecoverycenters.com. You get on that website and you can interact with our admissions team immediately. They'll answer questions for you. And just to kind of resonate with what both these guys were saying. When we say we don't care what your situation is, we don't care what your financial situation is, what your insurance is, if it's private insurance, if it's access. The resources are available to our teams to be able to help you. And personally, we have a bunch of resources. So please feel free to reach out. Desert Recovery Centers, America Rehab Campus. We're truly here to help the community.
And we want to help. So
We
point
wanna
out that phone, just reach out and we will help you from there because you're not alone. We have new studio, new content, new guests, and we're so excited. So if you want to be a guest, please reach out to us. If you know someone who you think would be a perfect guest, a comeback story, a miracle of recovery, please reach out to us because we're looking to really just create an opportunity, a safe environment to help people to find recovery. And Josh, you're a beautiful example of that. And we'll have you on a year from now and every year just to continue to update everyone to show that recovery is also progressive and continues to get progressively better. So thanks for being on the show, man.
I appreciate it. And you guys have such a beautiful facility here. I'm grateful to be on the show with you guys, man. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah,
You guys are doing awesome work.
I appreciate it.